Hello and welcome to the RSE at ACE, a video guide for parents and carers. We'd like to thank you in advance for taking the time to watch this video. We hope that you'll find the content informative and helpful. Should you have any further queries after watching the video, please do not hesitate to get in contact. Contact details will follow at the end of the presentation. The aims of this video is to support you in gaining an understanding of how we approach relationship and sex education, RSE, at Allerton C.V. Primary. It's to help you understand the statutory requirements around RSE, to help you understand the importance of exploring physical and emotional changes children may experience as they develop, particularly during puberty, and how we can support you as parents and carers through these transitions. So what is RSE? RSE is about the emotional, social and cultural development of the pupils, and it involves learning about relationships, sexual health, sexuality, healthy lifestyles, diversity and personal identity. It involves a combination of sharing information and exploring issues and values in an age-appropriate manner. RSE is not about the promotion of sexual activity. There are two core elements to RSE. There is relationships education and sex education. Firstly, let's consider why we teach relationships education. Relationships education is all about understanding the fundamental building blocks and characteristics of positive relationships. It supports us to recognise and develop healthy friendships, family relationships and other relationships with children and with adults. On the other hand, sex education is all about the children having knowledge and understanding of the external parts of the body, the human body as it grows from birth to old age, including puberty, and reproduction in some plants and mammals. Without this core knowledge, children are left vulnerable to misinformation and mistreatment. Our children are precious to us. It is our duty as parents and carers to ensure they feel safe, cared for, and reach their full potential to live happy and fulfilling lives. Many of us will want to rightly shelter our children from the hardships life can throw at us. We will also want to bring our children up in line with our values and beliefs, and this is our right as parents and carers. At this point, some of you may be concerned about the new statutory requirements for RSE, that they may not align with your parental approach or fit with the way you want to bring your children up. There is a lot of misleading information about RSE in the media and online. We hope by watching this video, your mind will be put at ease regarding RSE, as we are providing you with the truth about what is really being taught to your children. The implementation of RSE is a collaborative process, and through working with you, sharing what we do, and taking your feedback, we believe we can create a culture of transparency that will ensure that you feel secure and supported, that we have the best intentions at heart for your children. Through carefully designed, appropriate and relevant RSE, we will encourage your children to do the following: have open hearts and show kindness towards themselves and others. Take responsible steps, considering their personal and emotional safety, and to consider what it truly means to respect others around them. Have inquiring minds and question what is happening to them around them and how to seek answers from the right sources. Have helping hands and support each other in times of need, when learning and in play. To have resilient spirits, knowing that they can overcome any knockbacks and challenges that they will inevitably face in the future. And most importantly, to have a sense of wonder about the world and feel empowered and confident to tackle their future endeavours. So to clarify, we believe RSE at ACE should teach your children skills they need to develop positive relationships. That RSE should be a planned and progressive programme that is age appropriate. That it should gradually, appropriately and meaningfully prepare the children for young adult life. And it should support them to manage the natural, physical and emotional changes that happen to them as they grow and mature. Common questions parents and carers often have about RSE are: what do we cover in relationships education at ACE? We are often asked how it's covered, when it's covered, and what resources we use. We're also asked what types of relationships we discuss and how we address different beliefs in different relationships. In relation to sex education, we're again asked what is covered, how puberty is taught, and what we show and tell the children. We're often asked about the non-statutory requirements in sex education, for example, how we communicate about intimate relationships and sexual intercourse. This video will address all these questions, but before we do, it is important that we communicate the statutory and moral obligations we are under as a maintained Church of England school when it comes to the delivery of RSE. We have a moral and statutory duty to keep your children safe at school, and good quality RSE is central to this. Ofsted found that a lack of high-quality, age-appropriate RSE was a concern, as it left young children and adults vulnerable to inappropriate sexual behaviour and sexual exploitation. This was because they did not have the appropriate language or develop the confidence to describe unwanted behaviours or know where to go for help. Sadly, this stems from a case where a perpetrator of sexual abuse was not convicted due to the fact that the young victim involved did not know the appropriate term for her external genitalia. As a result, the defence claimed reasonable doubt about what abuse had taken place. Any parent or carer would want to protect their child from such an appalling situation. Empowering the children with the correct vocabulary about their bodies and knowledge about what is right and wrong behaviour is essential in keeping them safe. There are other statutory requirements relating to the delivery of RSE. Firstly, in September 2020, the Children's and Social Work Act 2017 made relationship and sex education statutory in all secondary schools and relationships education statutory in primary schools. As a mainstream school, we work under the remit of the national curriculum, which means we must promote the spiritual, moral, social, cultural development of the children in our care. We also have a statutory requirement to deliver puberty and human life cycles as part of the science curriculum. Schools must also comply with the relevant requirements of the Equalities Act 2010. Under the provisions of the Equalities Act, schools must not unlawfully discriminate against pupils because of the following: age, sex, gender, race, disability, religion or belief, gender reassignment, pregnancy or maternity, marriage or civil partnership, or sexual orientation. These are known as the protected characteristics. So what does this mean for primary schools like ours? Simply put, it means that everyone who is a part of our school community should be treated fairly and equally. And fundamentally, it means abiding by the core British values outlined by the Department of Education, which all schools have a duty to promote. All schools should value the rule of law and understand that no one is above the law, and that laws are there to protect us and our individual liberties. All schools should value democracy, that no one group determines how things should happen, as we all have our say via our democratic right to vote. It also means understanding that we may need to compromise if we are not on the side of the majority. Finally, and most importantly, as a school we should value mutual respect and the tolerance of different people and different beliefs. At Allerton CV Primary, we strongly believe mutual respect stems from our ability to deliver a curriculum where the whole school community feels represented and valued. We are a brilliantly diverse school, having families from a range of different backgrounds. We celebrate this diversity at ACE, and children are encouraged to be who they are, special, unique, with their own individual talents to contribute to the world. We take any form of undermining this seriously. Any forms of bullying or prejudiced behaviour at our school is not tolerated. Through our anti-bullying campaigns and pickets and celebrating diversity within our curriculum, we ensure that all our students understand the impact that bullying behaviour has on victims and perpetrators. Most importantly, we feel it is our obligation to turn bystanders into upstanders who are willing to speak out when they see or feel something is wrong. For more information about our positive behaviour policies and child-friendly anti-bullying policies, you can visit our website or request further information from the school office. It is important to mention here that we have a statutory obligation to report any incidents involving racist or homophobic, biphobic and transphobic bullying to the local authority. This further illustrates why it's so important for the children to understand concepts around diversity and acceptable behaviour. A common question that comes up when we address prejudicial behaviours like HBT bullying and LGBT content is how age appropriate is this for the children? The Department of Education advises that in all schools, pupils should be able to understand the world in which they are growing up, which means understanding that some people are LGBT, that this should be respected in British society, and that the laws afford them and their relationships recognition and protection. Schools should ensure that all of their teaching is sensitive and age-appropriate in approach and content. That schools should ensure that LGBT content is fully integrated into all their programs of study within the curriculum rather than delivered as a standalone unit or lesson. And that schools are free to determine how they would like to do this, but there is an expectation that all pupils will have been taught some LGBT content at some timely point within the curriculum. We are also asked about how addressing LGBT content aligns with our teachings as a Church of England school. The Church's position is as follows. Schools should provide opportunities to discuss issues to do with self-esteem, gender identity and anti-bullying, including HBT bullying. And that bullying should be included in personal, social, health and economic education, PSHE, or citizenship programs. That the curriculum should offer opportunities for pupils to learn to value themselves and their bodies. That relationship and sex education should take LGBT people into account. The Church of England's teaching on human sexuality and a range of Christian views should be taught, as well as a range of views from other faiths and world perspectives. The opportunities should be offered to pupils to explore why some people seek to bully and how bullying can take the form of HBT bullying. And strategies about how to protect yourself and others from bullying should be taught, including how to be safe online. Remember that RSE is a collaborative process and that we are all invested in your child's health and well-being. We are always happy to hear your feedback or support you in any way we can. Once again, should you need any further information or just have a simple query, please do not hesitate to contact us via the following email address: office@allertonceprimary.com.